The government is officially shut down, but what's not shut down are airports like LAX. Even though it's packed and there's tons of people who are flying, TSA agents have to show up to work today and they're not getting paid. And that's the same case for air traffic controllers as well. More than 13,000 of them nationwide who have to come to work today and they're not getting paid either. Of course, it is federal law for them to get a paycheck. Once this is all done, they get that back pay. But until then, there's rent, mortgage, bills, getting food on the table. You're dealing with high stress jobs like TSA, like air traffic control, already stressful enough. You add, when am I getting my next paycheck? That's a whole different story. The longest government shutdown happened in 2018. It stretched into 2019. It lasted 34 days. How long this one is going to last? It's all going to come down to Republicans and Democrats coming together and finding a way to compromise and fund the government. But in the balance hangs everyday Americans, hundreds of thousands of federal workers who are coming to work without pay or who are getting furloughed.
So something that's really not sitting well with me right now with the whole government shutdown is what's happening to these poor TSA employees who have to show up so the world can continue to run, and meanwhile they're not getting paid. Can you imagine working for TSA and not getting paid? And apparently they're supposed to get back pay, but I mean, it's not like everyone has a huge savings account. It's not like TSA agents, the basic airport security, get paid that much in the beginning. So if you have bills, rent, all that, you can't wait for back pay. And I just think it's so messed up what's happening to these people. Not to mention, TSA is not a job that anyone would do for free. No one is volunteering to go secure the airport. It looks like a really unpleasant job, to be honest. And meanwhile, the government can't get their shit together, and the working class are the ones who are in jeopardy here, really. And if that doesn't just sum up America, I don't know what does, because the government can't get their shit together. People, innocent people, are going to work and not getting paid. Insane.
I mean, she's very right, but all that thoughts. Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by. So our credit goes to the creators in these videos. And guys, in today's video, one group that faces a very tough time during the shutdown is the Transportation Security Administration, right? Or the TSA as they are called. Now, these are the workers that we see at the airport every single day. They check bags, they guide us through security lines, they make sure that everyone is safe before they fly. And normally, TSA workers are paid for the important work that they do, obviously, just like any worker. But during this shutdown, they are required to keep working, but they do not receive their pay in time. And this creates a situation where they have to continue doing their jobs without knowing when their money will come. I mean, for most people, the motivation of working, the motivation behind working is that, okay, at the end of the month or at the end of 2 weeks or however it is that their salary is being paid, they will get their paychecks and they will be able to pay their bills. But you're telling me that, oh, I have to keep working and there is no set time that the shutdown is going to end, which means there is no set time that I will be receiving my money. Guys, make it make sense, because this shutdown is so stressful and unfair. Every day they have to wake up and go to work. I mean, many people wake up and get the motivation for working because they know that something is coming at the end of the month. And even though they know that their paycheck will not arrive, they still have to get up early and go to work. And many of them live from paycheck to paycheck, guys, meaning they depend on each pay period to cover for their basic needs like rent, food, gas, childcare, and all of that. And without their pay, they are just worrying about how to support their families. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's see what these other creators have to say.
Okay, let's talk about this government shutdown and what it means for travel, because a lot of people have travel coming up. Life still goes on even amongst all of this insanity. So what do? Good news is if you are flying like today, this week, next week, who knows how long this is going to go on, but the reality is it's not going to immediately shut things down today. It is going to get worse as things go on, because the reason that there could be delays and cancellations and all sorts of impacts to your travel is because there's going to be a shortage of TSA agents. And today, TSA agents are still showing up at the airport. They're still doing their jobs. They haven't missed a paycheck yet. And the longer this goes on, the more likelihood there is for delays, the more likelihood there is for shortages, because these TSA agents, remember, they're just people like you and me. They're people who need to pay the bills every month. They're people, there are TSA agents in my comments talking about how this means they have to pause their IVF, how they can no longer afford the new medication that they were just put on. So these TSA agents are just human beings like you and me. They're all going to have their own scenarios, right? So they might be able to show up to work today because they're only not getting paid in theory. If a budget gets passed tomorrow, in theory, they were not paid today, but they didn't miss a check. You see what I'm saying? But as TSA, as Customs and Border Patrol, because that's who's allowing you back into the country. If you have an international flight, there were tons of people asking, can I get back into the US? Yes, but there's going to be those sorts of delays, and it's probably not going to hit today. So the earlier you're flying, the better in this scenario. But as the days and the weeks go on, if this is dragged out, these are human beings who are going to have to make choices. And a lot of them might have to start calling in sick to do job interviews so that they can pay the bills. Or in protest, who knows? I don't have a crystal ball, but I do know that the longer this goes on, the more the likelihood goes up that travel will be impacted. And we saw that in 2018, 2019, we had the longest government shutdown in US history, and it ended in part 35 days in because air traffic controllers were calling in sick, and it only took 10. It took 10 air traffic controllers. They called in sick. LaGuardia had to shut down. And it was right around then that was enough pressure to finally get this shutdown to end. But that was 35 days in. I wish I had a crystal ball to say, here's when it's going to be totally great to travel and here's where it's really going to suck. But what we know is that realistically today, this week, the earlier that you're flying in all of this shutdown nonsense, the better your chances will be that you're not going to notice a single thing. The longer this goes on and the more that TSA is impacted, the more you're going to feel that in your security screenings and the wait times. The longer this goes on, the more you're going to feel that in Customs and Border Patrol, which means longer wait times. If you're out of the country, when you're trying to get back in, longer wait times. This is just something to be prepared for. This is something to be aware of, and hopefully it doesn't impact your travel whatsoever. But if you have the opportunity to buy travel insurance, I would definitely be doing that right now. If you were booking a trip between now and the end of the year, if it were me, I would wait and see. Not saying not to book it, but I would wait and see because we don't know if this is going to be a couple days or a couple weeks. And again, that plays a big part in how much this is going to disrupt air travel. Let's hope this ends quickly because it is not good for anyone. And just know that if you have a trip coming up tomorrow, this weekend, next week, early on in this shutdown, that's actually best case scenario, all things considered.
So you mean to tell me with this government shutdown, and I didn't even think this far until I just went on CBS and looked at it. If you traveling, them people is not getting paid. TSA officers, employees, they're not getting paid. And some of them not coming to work, rightfully so. They're not getting paid, y'all. And they said something about air traffic control. It may be severe delays. Y'all, this is beyond me. Like, they said their flights are going to be delayed. There was a whole terminal that was shut down because there's nobody to work the terminal because they're not being paid. Like, what? I mean, are we cool? Is everything, are the brains functioning? Are they not functioning? What is happening here? Like, don't they know that one decision affects many different, there's a cause and effect to everything. So even if it's not directly affecting your paycheck, if you plan on traveling, it's affecting their paychecks, and you may not get to where you're going because they're not getting paid. Y'all, this can't be good.
No matter how we look at it, it is not fair. It's not fair on those workers. Some of them might even consider leaving their jobs rather, many of them will start calling in sick because they cannot afford to work without money. They cannot afford to even transport themselves to work. And at the same time, their job is very important because these airports cannot run safely without them. Passengers need to fly. The government still expects airports to function, right? And this puts these TSA workers in a very difficult position because it will now come down to choosing to stay at home, right? And doing a job that does not pay during the shutdown, or finding something else that can provide for their families. And looking at it at this point, what else can they find that can provide for their families? Because this shutdown is affecting a lot of things, right? And the government shutdown just shows how important these TSA workers are and how much they are dependent on, because without their hard work, airport security will break down, flights will be delayed, travel will become unsafe. And yet, during a shutdown, the workers that keep these airports running, right, they are the very ones that are struggling the most to survive without pay. Or in this case, they will be the ones to struggle the most to survive without pay. Guys, make it make sense. Don't even make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense no matter how we look at it, no matter the angle it is coming from. At the end of the day, like I always say, the citizens are the ones that are going to suffer. Let's see what these other creators have to say, and I'll see you soon.
Government is officially shut down. If you're planning on any air travel, give yourself plenty of time. The security check-in at LAX Southwest Terminal only had one scanner open, so it was a little slow. So if you are planning on traveling, give yourself extra time to get through security. Safe travels.
Here are some things to keep in mind if you're flying during the government shutdown. Things are fine right now. I really don't think if you're flying within the next week, so from now until October 10th, I wouldn't change much. After October 10th, some of those paychecks to TSA workers will start getting delayed. So here's what I would do. I would actually probably arrive about 2.5 hours early, especially if you're flying out of a larger airport. Smaller, medium airports, maybe 2 hours. So like an LAX and O'Hare, at least 2.5 hours. I'd also try to book a morning flight, because if all of a sudden those TSA lines get really long, they can book you on an afternoon flight. Another thing, going back to the medium and small airports, I try to fly out of those if you can, because they're not affected as much when TSA has disruptions. Hopefully that helps you guys. Please share with somebody that you know is flying soon.
One of the first ways that you might notice the impact of the government shutdown is at the airport. TSA officers are expected to come in and work even though they're not getting paid. That can lead to staffing shortages at those security checkpoints and longer lines for travelers. This is not the time to be testing airport theory. You want to get to the airport with plenty of time to spare, just in case you do counter those longer wait times.
If you are traveling in the next few days, listen up. You need to get to the airport extremely early. TSA and air traffic control are all ran by the federal government. If you remember back in 2018 and 2019 when this happened, you had thousands of workers calling out, which caused extremely long delays. You can expect TSA lines to be long and to be taxiing on a runway for longer than usual. If you have a global entry appointment this week, that will be canceled. If you plan on going to a national park, the parks are closed. If you are submitting your passport, it still will get processed, but probably with a slower processing time.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because this situation that America is in is just a reminder that people that keep America running are the ones that suffer the most when leaders argue and fail to agree. TSA workers are not just airport staff. They are a symbol of responsibility, duty, and real sacrifice. And the question is not how long they can keep working without pay, but how long the nation can keep depending on their unpaid dedication. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear from you. Are you a federal government worker that is going to work without pay, or you know somebody in that situation? Let me see your thoughts in the comments. I love reading from you. And if I found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video. Please stay safe. Mental health is important. Ciao.